Hello, everyone. I hope you are well. Today, I'd like to take a moment to talk about something that touches us all, a desire that sits deep within our hearts, the wish to not just live a long life, but to live a good one. Have you ever caught your reflection and noticed a new line, a sign of passing time, and felt a small pang of anxiety? Or perhaps you felt that creeping sense of fatigue at the end of the day, a weariness that seems to go deeper than just being tired. You might wonder if this is just the way it has to be, a slow decline in energy and vitality as the years add up. It's a common fear, and one I see reflected in the eyes of my patients every single day. This isn't just about avoiding major illness, it's about the quality of our daily existence. Do you ever worry that your future years might be defined more by limitations than by freedom? The fear isn't just about getting older. It's about the possibility of losing our spark, our ability to enjoy the simple things, a walk in the park, playing with grandchildren, or pursuing a hobby with passion. We all hold this image of a vibrant, active future for ourselves, yet a nagging voice sometimes whispers, "What if that's not my story?" This disconnect between the life we dream of and the future we fear is a heavy burden for many of us, creating a silent stress that impacts our well-being right now, in the present moment. As a physician, this is the story I encounter constantly. I see people struggling with conditions that drain their energy and joy, many of which are directly linked to lifestyle. It's a source of professional and personal frustration to see so many individuals caught in a cycle of chronic ailments that could have been prevented or at least significantly delayed. We have access to more medical information than ever before, yet we seem to be getting sicker as a population. We're often looking for a complex solution, a new medication or a revolutionary technology, to fix problems that stem from the very foundations of how we live, move, and, most importantly, how we eat. It leads me to a fundamental question. Where should we turn for genuine inspiration? If the latest fad diets and complicated health trends aren't providing the lasting answers, perhaps we are looking in the wrong places. What if the solution isn't about inventing something new, but about rediscovering something ancient and proven? This thought has guided my own research and curiosity for years. I started looking away from the laboratories and towards communities around the world, where people are not just surviving into old age, but are truly thriving. I wanted to find a place where longevity wasn't an anomaly but the norm, a place where health and happiness were woven into the very fabric of daily life, and learn from their example. My search led me, as it has for many researchers, thousands of miles away to a beautiful island in Japan, Okinawa. This place is remarkable. It's one of the world's blue zones, areas where people live exceptionally long and healthy lives. The number of centenarians there, people living to 100 and beyond, is simply astonishing. But what's most captivating is not just their age, but their vitality. These are not frail, bedridden individuals. They are active members of their community, tending to their gardens, practicing traditional dance, laughing with friends, and possessing a profound sense of purpose. They embody the very definition of aging gracefully, filled with life and vigor well into their 90s and beyond. When you contrast their reality with our own, the differences are stark. Our lives are often characterized by speed, stress, and convenience. We eat on the run, rely on processed foods to save time, and spend much of our day sitting, disconnected from nature and sometimes from each other. In Okinawa, the pace of life seems to be set to a different rhythm. There is a deep-rooted connection to the land, a strong sense of community, and a mindful approach to daily activities, especially meals. This isn't a criticism of our modern world, but an observation. It suggests that their extraordinary health isn't due to some genetic miracle, but rather to a collection of simple, powerful daily habits that we have perhaps forgotten. So what is their secret? I've spent countless hours studying their way of life, reading the accounts of local doctors and nutritionists who have observed these communities for decades. I wanted to understand the core principles that grant them this incredible gift of a long, well-lived life. Was it a rare herb? A specific genetic trait found only on the island? An extreme exercise regimen? The truth, I discovered, was both much simpler and far more profound than any of those things. It wasn't a magic pill or a single superfood. Their secret wasn't locked in a high-tech lab or an expensive clinic. It was hiding in plain sight, on their dinner plates. The foundation of their incredible health and longevity is disarmingly simple. It is built upon their daily diet, not a diet in the way we think of it, something restrictive, temporary, and often unpleasant, but a way of eating that is deeply ingrained in their culture and has been passed down through generations. It is a diet rich in whole, natural foods, full of color, flavor, and life-giving nutrients. It is a philosophy of nourishment that respects the body and the earth. Their approach to food is not about deprivation or counting calories. It's about abundance, balance, and pleasure. It is the quiet, consistent power of what they choose to eat, day after day, that builds their resilient health. Imagine a meal that is both delicious and profoundly healing. This is what the Okinawan table looks like. It is centered around a rainbow of vegetables, particularly the vibrant purple sweet potato, a powerhouse of antioxidants. It includes humble yet powerful plant-based proteins like tofu and other soy products. It features treasures from the sea, not just oily fish rich in omega-3s that protect the heart and brain, but also various types of seaweed, packed with essential minerals that are often lacking in Western diets. And woven throughout their day is the gentle ritual of sipping green tea, a simple beverage brimming with compounds that protect the body's cells from damage. It is a symphony of simple ingredients working in harmony. But beyond the specific foods, there is a guiding philosophy, a mindset that is perhaps the most important ingredient of all. We are going to explore not just what these remarkable people eat, but how they eat. We will delve into concepts like Harahachi Biyu, the practice of eating until you are just 80% full, a powerful act of listening to your body's true needs. This journey is not about asking you to abandon your own culture or completely change your life overnight. It is an invitation to borrow from their ancient wisdom, to see how we can integrate these simple, powerful principles into our own lives, one small, sustainable step at a time, to add not just years to our life, but more importantly, life to our years. Let's be very clear about the problem we're facing, because it's often invisible. The primary issue driving so many of our modern health crises isn't a specific virus or a new aggressive bacteria. It's a slow, smoldering fire within our own bodies called chronic low-grade inflammation. This isn't the acute, helpful inflammation you see when you cut your finger, the redness and swelling that signals healing. This is a persistent, body-wide state of alert, a silent alarm that never turns off. It's triggered, day after day, by the very foods we eat. Our modern diet, full of processed ingredients, sugar, and unhealthy fats, is constantly poking at our immune system, keeping it in a state of agitation that slowly wears down our tissues and organs over years. This constant internal battle is exhausting. Think of it like trying to run your car's engine in the red zone, all day, every day. Eventually things start to break down. This chronic inflammation is the common thread, the underlying culprit behind a shocking number of the diseases we fear most. Heart disease, type 2 diabetes, autoimmune conditions, and even certain types of cancer and neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. It damages the delicate lining of our arteries, disrupts how our bodies manage blood sugar, and creates an environment where disease can flourish. We are essentially creating the perfect internal storm for illness, one meal at a time, often without even realizing the cumulative damage we're inflicting, until a diagnosis forces us to pay attention. The tragedy here is that our bodies are designed for health and resilience. We have incredible systems for repair and regeneration. However, we are overwhelming these systems. When we flood our bodies with food that is difficult to process and lacks the essential micronutrients needed for repair, we place an enormous burden on our liver, our pancreas, and our entire digestive tract. We are asking our bodies to perform a miracle, to build strong, healthy cells from poor quality raw materials. It's an impossible task. This leads to a state of being overfed, yet profoundly undernourished. We are full of calories but starved of the vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients that act as our internal cellular mechanics, keeping everything running smoothly. In stark contrast, the traditional Okinawan diet is a masterclass in quelling this internal fire. It is, by its very nature, profoundly anti-inflammatory. The abundance of colorful vegetables, especially the purple sweet potato, provides a constant stream of antioxidants that neutralize the damaging free radicals produced by stress and metabolism. The omega-3 fatty acids from fish directly counteract inflammatory pathways in the body. The fiber from plants feeds a healthy gut microbiome, which in turn produces compounds that reduce inflammation throughout the system. They are not just avoiding inflammatory foods, they are actively and deliciously consuming a diet that calms, soothes, and protects their bodies from the inside out, creating a foundation of deep cellular health. Let's talk about the gut, what many of us in medicine now call the second brain. The modern Western diet has a devastating effect on this delicate ecosystem. The high sugar content feeds the harmful bacteria, allowing them to overgrow and crowd out the beneficial microbes that are essential for our health. These good bacteria help us digest food, produce essential vitamins, regulate our immune system, and even influence our mood. When this internal garden is overrun with weeds, it leads to a condition called leaky gut, where the intestinal lining becomes permeable. This allows toxins and undigested food particles to enter the bloodstream, triggering a massive immune response and, you guessed it, driving that chronic systemic inflammation I mentioned earlier. So the problem we are truly addressing is a fundamental mismatch. It's a mismatch between our ancient biology, which evolved over millennia on a diet of whole, natural foods, and our modern food environment, which prioritizes convenience, shelf life, and hyperpalatability over actual nourishment. We are living in a world where the easiest food choices are often the worst for our long-term health. This isn't about a lack of willpower, it's about navigating a system that is, in many ways, set up for us to fail. The wisdom of the Okinawans provides us with a clear, proven roadmap to navigate our way back to a way of eating that honors our biology and supports the vibrant health we all deserve. Now let's ground this in some numbers, because the data is truly staggering and helps to paint a clear picture of the stakes. In the United States, heart disease remains the #1 cause of death, claiming hundreds of thousands of lives each year. Yet in traditional Okinawa, the rates of death from coronary heart disease were a fraction of that, as much as 80% lower in some studies of their elderly population. Think about that. This isn't a small difference, it's a monumental gap in health outcomes. This points directly to the protective power of a diet low in saturated fat and rich in heart-healthy nutrients like the omega-3s found in their fish and the flavonoids in their vegetables and green tea. Let's consider cancer. Rates of hormone-dependent cancers, such as breast, prostate, and ovarian cancer, are significantly lower in Okinawa compared to Western nations. For instance, studies have shown their rates of breast and prostate cancer to be 4 to 5 times lower. Many researchers attribute this remarkable protective effect to their high consumption of soy products like tofu and miso. These foods contain isoflavones, plant compounds that can have a mild balancing effect on hormone activity in the body, potentially disrupting the pathways that allow these types of cancers to develop and grow. It's a powerful example of how food can act as a form of preventative medicine, working quietly in the background to protect us. And what about our minds? One of the greatest fears associated with aging is the loss of our cognitive function, the fading of our memories, and our very sense of self. The risk of dementia in traditional Okinawa is estimated to be up to 50% lower than in the West. This isn't a coincidence. Their diet is a perfect recipe for brain health. The omega-3s from fish are critical building blocks for brain cells. The antioxidants from sweet potatoes and green tea protect the brain from oxidative stress. And the B vitamins found in many of their vegetables are crucial for neurological function. They are literally feeding their brains with everything needed to stay sharp, clear, and engaged with life well into their 90s and beyond. The epidemic of type 2 diabetes in the Western world is another stark point of contrast. In America, more than 1 in 10 people have diabetes, and a staggering 1 in 3 have prediabetes, putting them on a direct path toward the full-blown disease. In traditional Okinawan culture, where the diet is naturally low in sugar and refined carbohydrates and high in fiber, type 2 diabetes was historically very rare. Their way of eating naturally promotes stable blood sugar levels and excellent insulin sensitivity. The slow-releasing carbohydrates from sweet potatoes, combined with the high-fiber content of their overall diet, prevent the blood sugar spikes and crashes that, over time, exhaust the pancreas and lead to metabolic disease. These aren't just impersonal statistics. They represent millions of individual stories. Each number is a person who may have lost their mobility, a family struggling with a difficult diagnosis, or a life cut short. The data isn't meant to frighten you, but to awaken you to a powerful truth. Your genetic heritage is not your destiny. The Okinawan story proves that lifestyle, and particularly diet, is an incredibly powerful lever that we can pull to dramatically shift our health trajectory. It shows us that many of the chronic diseases we have come to accept as a normal part of aging are, in fact, largely preventable. A different, healthier future is not only possible, it is within our reach. Beyond the statistics, let's talk about the real, tangible risks of continuing down the path of a standard Western diet. The most immediate risk is the gradual erosion of your quality of life. It begins with a loss of physical freedom. The chronic inflammation I spoke of manifests as persistent joint pain, arthritis, and stiffness, making it harder to do the things you love. It can make climbing a flight of stairs feel like a monumental task, prevent you from getting on the floor to play with your grandchildren, or turn a simple walk in the park into a painful ordeal. This isn't just an inconvenience, it's the shrinking of your world and your ability to participate fully in your own life. Another profound risk is to your mental clarity and emotional well-being. The health of your brain is inextricably linked to the food you eat. A diet high in sugar and processed foods fuels inflammation in the brain, which is now linked to an increased risk of depression, anxiety, and, of course, cognitive decline. The risk is not just about forgetting where you put your keys. It's about a slow fading of your mental sharpness, your creativity, and your ability to feel joy and connection. You risk losing the very essence of who you are. The Okinawan diet, rich in brain-protective nutrients, is a direct investment in preserving your mental and emotional vitality for the long haul. There is also the significant risk of becoming dependent on a cascade of medications. It often starts with one pill, perhaps for high blood pressure or high cholesterol, but because the underlying lifestyle issues are not addressed, the problem often worsens, leading to another prescription and then another. Many people find themselves trapped in a cycle of managing symptoms with pharmaceuticals, each with its own set of potential side effects, which can then require even more medication. This creates a life defined by pill schedules and doctor visits, rather than by freedom and well-being. It's a stark contrast to the Okinawan elders who often live their entire lives with little to no need for prescription drugs. We also risk developing a deeply unhealthy and stressful relationship with food. In our culture, food is often a source of guilt, anxiety, and confusion. We are bombarded with conflicting messages about what to eat, leading to a cycle of restrictive dieting followed by overindulgence. The risk is that we completely lose our innate ability to listen to our bodies. We forget that food is meant to be a source of pleasure, nourishment, and connection. The Okinawan approach, with its emphasis on mindfulness, balance, and enjoyment, offers a beautiful alternative. A way to find peace at the dinner table, and to see food once again as a life-giving friend, rather than a complicated enemy. Perhaps the most significant risk is the difference between your lifespan and your health span. Modern medicine has become very good at extending our lifespan, the total number of years we are alive. However, it has been far less successful at extending our health span, the number of years we live in good health, free from chronic disease and disability. The risk of a Western diet is that you may live a long life, but that the final 1 or 2 decades of that life could be spent in poor health, with low energy and a lack of independence. The Okinawan model shows us that the goal should not be just to add years to life, but to add vibrant, active, and joyful life to our years. Ultimately, the risk is one of regret. The regret of looking back and realizing that small, consistent changes made earlier could have led to a vastly different future. It's the regret of not having the energy to travel, pursue a passion, or simply enjoy your retirement because of health limitations that were largely preventable. The choices we make at our dinner tables today are directly shaping the health, freedom, and happiness of our future selves. By understanding these risks clearly, we empower ourselves to make different choices, not out of fear, but out of a profound act of love and care for the person we are hoping to become. Now let's bring this into the present moment. Many of these internal processes don't wait until you're 60 to show up. They whisper to us through early symptoms that we often ignore or dismiss as just part of life. The most common symptom I see is a deep, persistent fatigue. This isn't the normal tiredness you feel after a long day's work. It's a bone-deep weariness that a good night's sleep, doesn't seem to touch. You wake up feeling unrefreshed, and you need caffeine to get through the morning and sugar to get through the afternoon. This is a sign of cellular exhaustion, a signal that your body is struggling under a heavy inflammatory load. Another very common early symptom is what people call brain fog. It's that frustrating feeling of not being mentally sharp. You might find it difficult to concentrate at work, struggle to find the right word in a conversation, or feel that your memory isn't what it used to be. It's easy to blame this on stress, lack of sleep, or simply getting older. However, it is very often a direct neurological symptom of inflammation and blood sugar instability. The same processes that damage your arteries can also cloud your thinking. Your brain requires high-quality fuel and a calm internal environment to function optimally, and our modern diet often provides neither. Do you experience regular aches and pains? That stiff back when you get out of bed? The creaky knees when you climb stairs? Or just a general feeling of achiness in your muscles and joints? We have a cultural habit of dismissing this as a normal consequence of aging. But in many cases, it is a direct physical manifestation of chronic, low-grade inflammation. Your body's immune system is overactive, and the inflammatory chemicals it releases can irritate nerve endings and tissues throughout your body, creating a constant sensation of pain and stiffness. This is not a mandatory part of getting older. It's a symptom of an imbalanced system. Pay attention to your digestive system, as it often sends the first and loudest signals that something is wrong. Symptoms like frequent bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea, or heartburn are not normal. They are clear signs that your gut microbiome is out of balance and that your digestive tract is inflamed and struggling. For too long, we've treated these as minor, embarrassing inconveniences to be managed with over-the-counter remedies. In reality, they are critical warning signs from the very core of your immune system, telling you that the food you are eating is causing harm and that the foundation of your health is being compromised. Another key symptom to watch for is stubborn weight gain, particularly around your midsection. This type of belly fat is not just a cosmetic concern. It is metabolically active tissue that acts like a factory, pumping out inflammatory molecules and disrupting your hormones. It's often driven by insulin resistance, a condition where your cells stop responding properly to the hormone insulin. This is a direct result of a diet high in sugar and refined carbohydrates. If you find that you're gaining weight easily, especially around your waist, and finding it incredibly difficult to lose, it's a strong signal that your metabolic health is in jeopardy. Finally, look at your skin. Your skin is your body's largest organ and often provides an external window into your internal health. Chronic skin issues like acne, rosacea, eczema, or simply dull, puffy, and prematurely aged skin can all be signs of underlying systemic inflammation. Your body is trying to eliminate toxins and manage the inflammatory burden, and sometimes it shows up on your skin. These are not just surface-level problems to be treated with creams and lotions. They are often signals from your body asking you to address the root cause, which very frequently begins with what is on your plate and the health of your gut. So what are the primary causes of this widespread problem? Let's name them directly. The single biggest culprit is the rise of ultra-processed foods. These are not real foods, but industrial formulations made from refined ingredients and additives. Think of packaged snacks, sugary cereals, fast food, and frozen dinners. They are engineered to be irresistible by hitting our bliss point for salt, sugar, and fat, but they are stripped of fiber, vitamins, and minerals. Our bodies don't fully recognize these substances, and their consumption is a major driver of the inflammation, weight gain, and chronic disease we've been discussing. They offer convenience at an incredibly high biological cost. The second major cause is our staggering consumption of refined sugar and flour. These simple carbohydrates are digested almost instantly, causing a rapid and dramatic spike in your blood sugar. Your pancreas then has to work overtime, releasing a flood of insulin to try to manage the sugar surge. Over time, this constant cycle of spikes and crashes leads to insulin resistance, the precursor to type 2 diabetes. It also promotes inflammation and contributes directly to the accumulation of dangerous visceral fat around your organs. The sweet treats and white bread that are staples of the modern diet are a primary fuel for the fire of chronic disease. Next, we must talk about fats. For decades, we were mistakenly taught to fear all fat, leading to a boom in low-fat, high-sugar processed products that made our health even worse. The real issue is not fat itself, but the type and balance of fats we consume. The modern diet is drastically out of balance, with an overabundance of inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids found in processed vegetable oils like soy, corn, and sunflower oil used in most packaged foods and restaurants, and a severe deficiency of anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids found in oily fish, walnuts, and flax seeds. This imbalance actively promotes inflammation at a cellular level. A critical, often overlooked cause is the dramatic lack of fiber in our diets. Fiber is indigestible plant matter that is absolutely essential for our health. It keeps us full, helps control blood sugar, and, most importantly, serves as the primary food source for the beneficial bacteria in our gut. When we eat a diet based on processed grains, juices, and low amounts of vegetables, we are effectively starving our microbiome. This leads to the death of beneficial species and the overgrowth of harmful ones, causing the gut imbalance and leaky gut that underpins so much systemic inflammation and disease. This leads to the great paradox of our time. We are simultaneously overfed and undernourished. Because so many of our calories come from processed foods that are devoid of essential nutrients, our bodies are literally starving for the building blocks they need to function. We can be overweight yet deficient in crucial micronutrients like magnesium, which is vital for over 300 biochemical reactions, or potassium, which is key for blood pressure regulation. The vibrant, colorful Okinawan diet, packed with a wide variety of vegetables, seaweed, and other whole foods, ensures an abundance of these micronutrients, protecting their bodies from deficiency. Finally, a deeper cause is the cultural shift in how we eat. We have moved away from the ritual of preparing and sharing home-cooked meals. Instead, we eat on the run, in our cars, or in front of screens, often alone. This mindless way of eating disconnects us from our body's natural signals of hunger and satiety. It encourages overconsumption and poor food choices. The Okinawan practice of hara-hachi bu, of eating slowly and stopping when 80% full, is the complete opposite. It is an act of mindfulness and respect for the body, a cultural habit that has been lost in the frantic pace of modern life. In essence, the root cause of our health crisis is a profound and recent departure from the way humans are meant to eat. Our genes have not changed, but our food environment has been completely transformed in just a few generations. We are running ancient biological software on a modern, corrupted operating system, and the result is a system-wide crash. The wisdom of the Okinawans is not about a magical new diet. It is a powerful reminder of this fundamental truth. It offers us a clear path back to an ancestral way of eating that aligns with our biology and unlocks the vibrant, long-lasting health that is our birthright. So where do we begin? The beautiful truth is that the path to reclaiming your health is not about a radical, punishing diet. It's not about deprivation or misery. The solution is about a joyful return to real, whole foods. It's a shift in philosophy from focusing on what you must eliminate to focusing on what you can joyfully add to your plate. Imagine adding more vibrant colors, more delicious vegetables, more life-giving nutrients. This journey is about falling back in love with food that loves you back. It's about abundance, not restriction. By choosing to nourish your body with these simple, powerful foods that have sustained the world's healthiest people for centuries, you are not starting a diet. You are starting a more vibrant and delicious way of life, one meal at a time. Let's make this incredibly practical. The single most powerful change you can make is to let plants be the star of your plate. Aim for a simple rule. At every single meal, fill at least half of your plate with a rainbow of colorful vegetables. Think dark leafy greens like spinach or kale, bright red bell peppers, deep orange carrots, and of course, the magnificent purple sweet potato if you can find it. These aren't just side dishes, they are the main event. They flood your body with the fiber your gut bacteria crave, the antioxidants that quell inflammation, and the micronutrients your cells need to thrive. This one simple visual cue, making half your plate plants, can fundamentally shift your health trajectory more than any complex calorie-counting app ever could. Next, let's rethink our protein sources. The Okinawan model teaches us that large portions of red meat are not necessary for a strong and healthy body. Instead, try incorporating more plant-based proteins like tofu, edamame, and lentils, into your weekly routine. And of course, embrace the treasures of the sea. Aim to eat oily fish, such as wild-caught salmon, mackerel, or sardines, 2 to 3 times a week. These are packed with those incredible anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids that are so protective of your heart and brain. By treating meat as a smaller component of a meal, rather than its centerpiece, you naturally reduce your intake of inflammatory saturated fats and increase your intake of healing, nourishing alternatives that build health from the inside out. Let's also get smart about our fats and carbohydrates. It's time to banish the fear of fat and instead focus on its quality. A simple, powerful action is to swap out inflammatory processed vegetable oils like corn, soy, and sunflower oil for anti-inflammatory extra virgin olive oil for cooking and dressings. Embrace healthy fats from avocados, nuts, and seeds. When it comes to carbohydrates, the solution is just as simple. Choose whole over refined. Swap white bread, pasta, and rice for their 100% whole grain counterparts. Better yet, get the majority of your carbs from starchy vegetables like sweet potatoes and squash. These slow-releasing carbohydrates provide sustained energy without the damaging blood sugar spikes, keeping your metabolism stable and your inflammation low. Beyond what you eat, let's transform how you eat. I want you to embrace the spirit of Hara-Hachi Bu, the Okinawan practice of eating until you are just 80% full. This isn't about guesswork. It's about mindfulness. To start, simply slow down. Put your fork down between each bite. Chew your food thoroughly and savor the flavors. Turn off the television and put away your phone. By paying full attention to your meal, you give your brain time to register your body's signals of satiety. You will be amazed at how this simple practice can prevent overeating, improve your digestion, and help you rebuild a trusting, intuitive relationship with your body's true needs. It is a profound act of self-respect. I know this might feel like a lot to take in, and the idea of change can be overwhelming. So please, hear me on this. This is not about achieving perfection overnight. It is about making small, sustainable steps in the right direction. Don't try to change everything at once. Just pick one thing. Perhaps this week you can commit to adding a large salad to your dinner every night. Or maybe you'll swap your usual afternoon snack for a handful of walnuts. Each small, positive choice is a victory. It's a quiet declaration to yourself that you are worthy of good health. These tiny steps, compounded over time, are what build a long and vibrant life. It is the consistency of these small acts of self-care that creates monumental change. I want you to pause for a moment and truly consider the 2 paths that lie ahead. One path is the one our modern culture pushes us down, a path that often leads to a long lifespan, but a painfully short health span, with the final decades marked by chronic illness, medication, and a loss of freedom. But there is another path, the one illuminated by the wisdom of the Okinawans. This path leads to a future where your later years are not defined by limitations, but by vitality, mental clarity, and the ability to engage joyfully with the world and the people you love. This isn't a distant dream. The power to choose that vibrant future is in your hands, and it begins with the very next choice you make for your plate. Please, do not let this message be a source of guilt or fear. Let it be a message of incredible hope. Your body has a magnificent, innate capacity to heal itself. It is never too late to begin. The moment you start shifting away from inflammatory foods and flooding your system with real, life-giving nutrients, the healing process begins. You can start to feel more energetic, think more clearly, and experience less pain far sooner than you might believe is possible. Your health is not written in stone. It is a dynamic, living thing that responds beautifully to the care and nourishment you provide it. Starting today, you have more power over your long-term well-being than you have ever been led to believe. This journey is also about more than just you. It's about the legacy of health you create for your family. When you choose to prioritize whole foods and mindful meals, you are not just healing yourself. You are modeling a different way of life for your children and grandchildren. You are teaching them, through your actions, that health is a treasure to be cultivated. You are helping to break a generational cycle of chronic disease and creating a new culture of wellness within your own family. By taking care of your own health, you are giving the greatest possible gift to the people you love. the gift of more healthy, vibrant, and joyful years together. So I ask you to look past all the information and connect with that deep desire in your heart for a good, long life. A life full of energy, passion, and presence. The life you truly deserve. Don't wait for a scary diagnosis or a health crisis to become your motivation. The time for a gentle revolution is now. It starts quietly, in your own kitchen. Let your very next meal be a deliberate choice, an act of profound love and commitment to your future self. That future self who is active, happy, and free will thank you for the small, wise decisions you are about to make. Your vibrant future is waiting for you. Let's begin building it together today.